Hi, friends. I want to talk about a couple of important things that happen in the life of our church this time of year. Our budget cycle ends March 31st, and our ministry budget then begins new April 1st. And on Sunday, we talked about kind of how do we arrive at a ministry budget. And I want to recap that a little bit because I think it's important for us to understand where that begins. It really begins with our mission and with prayer. Our mission is that we journey together to glorify God, making disciples of every generation and serving the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so as a church, we want to be a kingdom expanding church. We want God to use us in so many ways to see his kingdom expand as we get to be used by him. And kind of three areas we are focusing on as a church when we think about expanding his kingdom. We want to be a multiplying church. We, of course, want to multiply disciples, fulfilling the Great Commission. We want to multiply leaders in our church. We want to multiply life groups when we experience community together. And we want to multiply churches. And so I get excited about what we're already doing, but also what we're going to get to do in the future as we resource God's kingdom in that way. Not only that, but we want to be an equipping church. That means we want to continue the legacy milestone path as we equip parents to be the faith trainers in their homes and grandparents to be that influencer in their homes spiritually and in their generations and families. We want to be a church that continues to use care ministries and marriage ministry and men's and women's ministry to equip the body of Christ to live out our lives faithfully before God. And not only that, but we want to be a transforming church. We want to think in terms of our missional opportunities, whether it's locally here all the way to the ends of the earth. We want to see lives and areas and regions transformed by the gospel and what God allows us to do in those places he's given us influence. It's exciting. And all of that relates back to what we do with our ministry budget and the dollars that we get to steward as God blesses us as we give to resource his kingdom. So it begins there with a mission and prayer. It goes to various different levels on our ministry staff, our stewardship team, our personnel team, our board of trustees, and then it comes to what will be on March 27th, our vote as a church. And so we will get to vote on our budget for this next year. Also, this next Sunday on the 20th, we will have an informational meeting following the second service. So if you have questions or you just want to learn more, you can certainly come to that as well. So what are we voting on? What does the budget look like in comparison? Well, this year we're increasing our budget. So the last 4 years we've held steady at $3.3 million. This year we're increasing to $3.65 million. And I want to tell you why that increase is happening. First of all, we believe God has some great things for us to take part in. And so there's some increased opportunities that we see, as well as doing the regular ministries that we've been doing. And all of that then couched in the reality that inflation is hitting. And so we want to plan for that so we don't have to scale back, but we can continue doing what God's called us to do. So that's a big piece of why that increase is there. Another big piece of it is for us to fulfill the mission that God has for us. I believe a key role is needed on our team, and that's an executive pastor. I'll talk more about what that means specifically later, but just know that's included as well. And then the third piece of it is that increase happens because every time our budget increases, our mission spending increases because that's set at 10% of our total budget, which that's an exciting increase as we get to continue to support our partners all over the world. So understanding then that vote is on March 27th, there's one other key factor to that that's really important, and that is that we want to finish this year with our ministry budget strong. I'm so grateful for the way you have given and supported our church. For those of you who have given this year, we are no doubt going to meet our budget this year. But the ultimate goal isn't necessarily just to meet the budget. It's to worship through resourcing God's kingdom, through our giving. And so our budget is a plan. But beyond that plan, we get to do more and above in kingdom expanding ways when we get to resource God's kingdom by giving over and above. And so I would just encourage you, let's be faithful to whatever God leads us to do in these last 2 weeks as we want to finish this year strong and then launch into the new year and all that God has for us. I love you, church. I get excited about our future, get excited about this budget year and many more to come as God continues to lead us where we get to journey together to glorify him, make disciples of every generation, and serve the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ.